All right, it's $400 the limit for Destined Rivals. So we have another seller appeared who has a ton of boxes. Hobbiesville Boutique, like I think before is something Card House and Trading Card World always does it. So they have a bunch of cheap boxes around $400. Technically, if you buy all of them, you'll get like them 385, and then shipping will be split out. But yeah, there's a lot of them here. A lot of times they don't keep the listing up, but who knows? Maybe they really do. Like maybe they just got a bunch and want to offload it. It's not really that much. Like it's just 10 cases. Some people 10 cases isn't a lot, so we'll see kind of what happens. Right now, a lot of the prices have gone down. Like now we're at 400. We're heading toward 420 and 430, and our prices have suddenly dropped quite a bit. The jump to 420 is still about here. But you know, if that seller goes away, it's still kind of decent. Otherwise, like there's only this seller over here, but 7. So let's see what happens with the price now. 7 sold yesterday, 7 sold the day before that. Cases are still selling though. Cases are down about $45, so it's about $425 a booster box. So you see a general drop. People are still buying the cases though. So if the cases get too expensive, people will go back to the booster boxes. So still case demand. Just one case there that's cheaper. Then you see this one at $25.75. Otherwise, there's just a lot of them around $2,600. Just not a ton of supply. If you sell like 1 or 2 cases a day, this will get bought out. So we'll kind of see what happens. PCCs rose back up. There's a really cheap one available, and they're back up $51. Back to kind of a new high actually at 355. They're at 351. That was the previous high before that, and yeah, I think the card fathers, they still have a lot of supply over here at 13. Otherwise, like that's the only reason why the price hasn't gone up as much. This should be heading toward 400 eventually once the supply runs out a little more. For the normal ETB, sold 8 yesterday. Prices has been rising, so it's at 105 now, heading toward maybe 107, 110. So these are starting to rise a little more as Destined Rivals has been more expensive. Booster bundles are at 51 now. Sold 13 yesterday, 15 today. These are starting to rise like 52, 53. So like these are also going up in price. Like now it's like 850 a pack for booster bundles. Like ETBs are keeping in line with like the booster boxes, just because the ETBs have a little more premium with the promo and all that. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, if you don't buy the bundles, like that's around is like $11 plus per pack. Are 151, so these are at 160 now. Rose about $1 or so after 10 were sold yesterday. Clearly heading toward 165. You just see 165 over here. There's just a couple, and we hit to 165. Not really sure how high this will go. Sea and Sky just reached 210, so these still have a good amount of potential, even though they're not technically as out of print as Sea and Sky has been. But that makes Bullion Wars about 13.33 a pack. And it's just like kind of the cheapest options. Everything else is getting really expensive. Like it's really hard to get 151 for a good deal nowadays. Booster bundles, displays. The demand has been rising for these. I've been noticing that more lately. People have been buying these. Like it kind of slowed down when the Paldean Fates bundle exploded, but there's been more sales. I see another one. I see 2 sold at 1470. And what's really interesting is that there's not a lot of supply left at the lower price points. There's a bunch of them around 1450. This is about 1470, and then it starts rising over here. Like this one has them around 1550, and then it goes to 1900. So not really sure what happened with these, but the supply and sellers, the number of people selling these is kind of really low right now. So these are up. Only about $1 now, but I think they have a lot of potential. Don't be surprised if they suddenly go up like a few $100s. UPCs and ETBs are down about $5, and bundles are down about $2. Snorlax promo finally took a break on sales. Only 23 sold instead of the normal like kind of 90. I think 68 sold the other day. Price is still maintaining really well. For bundles sold 30 yesterday. They did go down by like $2, but these are still pretty much like $100 bundles. I guess they're about 98.99 right now. Not a lot of supply at the lower price points. UPCs went down about $5. Only sold 1 yesterday. Another seller listed them for 610. Otherwise, we're just trying to break out of the 615 sort of mark to get to about 640. Packs, not that many packs sold yesterday, only about 57, but the pack price is indeed going to $15. I mentioned like pretty much the only supply below $15 is this seller over here, and now they only have 47 packs left, so it's a $14.50. There goes $15. So we're getting straight up at $15 packs. We even get through here. There's 150 packs. You get to 15, 15, and 60. I really don't know. Like this is gonna be like a $20 pack by the end of the year, if not sooner. For PCTBs, zero so yesterday, still hasn't really risen above $1,000. I'm just trying to get through the supply, and we get to like 110, even 1100. For normal ETBs, yeah, they've been going, let's just like going around the $400 mark. So 4 so yesterday, 1 so today, so the demand kind of picked up again. But yeah, it's been very pretty stagnant around like just under 400 or just over 400. Posters, again, there's just this cheaper seller here. Otherwise, these are like $45. Actually, this seller over here put some cheap ones. So there's some good. This one over here is a pretty good deal. If you buy all 10, you split the shipping. So this is a good opportunity for some people to get. So a little more supply of posters are becoming available for those who want it at the lower price. Binders are around 140. Oh, the graphs are working again. Great. Sold one yesterday. And yeah, RJ Breaks just listed a bunch, so they're kind of becoming the new Barkbird cards in a way. And then maintenance play still around 300. Sold one yesterday, one today. Yeah, people are starting to buy these up a little bit as yeah, the price point just makes sense. Like worst case scenario, rip them for loose packs. The like they're barely $1 or more than Blue Waters. So yeah, and they're gonna be cheaper than even loose packs soon. So yeah, just a really good deal. You also get the maintenance plays. You just keep it sealed, see what happens. All right, seeing Sky keeps going up, I call this out. I called this out a while ago, and it just didn't rise as much as I thought it would. You see this like sort of stagnation at like 174. But it's finally kind of happening. You see one sold yesterday, but we're falling at $210. James Sneakers is always trying to undercut the markets. And every time recently, someone's been buying 20 of them, so we'll see how that goes. Right now, it's kind of expensive to buy 20 of them. It's about $15 a pack. Not really too bad. But yeah, I'm not sure if it will fully happen. But yeah, seeing Sky keeps rising just because I just, do basic price per pack. I think even the promos are getting a little expensive. But yeah, it's about $15 as Crown Zenith until around yesterday has been around pretty much $15 a pack. The PCTBs, sales are definitely rising. It was selling a lot less before, only selling like every 3 or 4 days. Now it's been selling pretty much every day. Sold one yesterday, one today, and we're still eyeing the price of about like 390, 500. Still hasn't quite reached there, but people are slowly buying these up as Crown Zenith is getting more hyped. Packs sold very little packs yesterday, about 13. And yeah, as I mentioned yesterday, there are a bunch of packs over here for $14. And after that, we get to 1450, but we'll see. Like this is quite a bit of packs, 360 packs. For ETBs, they're still around 322. Sold two yesterday, and yeah, these have been really stagnant. There is a little bit of a price ladder to like 329 or something, but there hasn't been much interest. Like the obvious play really is the cheap packs. So people have been buying those up. And then bundles are still at 115. We're seeing bundle demand go up. Like it's actually, yeah, technically it's double from like where it's been. You see it's selling 1 to 2. Now it's selling about 4. And with that, like we are heading really close. Well, except for this one, Ghastly Ashley just listed a bunch of these, 10 of them. It's usually not this much supply. Otherwise, we were heading straight to our $120 bundles, because people do like booster bundles. These are more valuable things for investing because they're way easier to hold long term. So if you buy it more expensive now, like you do save in the long run versus Sea and Sky and whatever, you have to figure out ways to store and whatever. It's just more of a headache. All right, Paldean Fates PCTB rises back up $60. So there was one cheap one yesterday, and they've been sold. I see it around, I guess here. Someone bought both of them, and so yeah, I knew that was gonna go out pretty well, pretty fast. And so you see, Sunspike of 4 sold because of that. As I said before, PCTB for Paldean Fates demand has been higher lately, and so watch out as people are slowly buying out the cheap ones. Like people are being pretty smart about this, just buying out the cheaper ones, doing nothing too crazy. As the cheaper supply comes back, like they just keep buying it up. Eventually the price will reverse, and they'll have a bunch of cheaper PCTBs. Booster bundles still around 110, and you see 15 sold today, which honestly, like that's a great number for Paldean Fates because there's only 63 in the market. That's like 25% of what's listed right now, and let's see if it's going higher. So I do see like one, like was that 113 in the future, 115. So we are getting to the point where everyone knows Paldean Fate's really expensive. It's just kind of like a little too expensive right now, so people are holding off on it a little bit. So there's not a lot of big buyouts or anything. So people are like, should I buy 151? Like there are other options, and so people just aren't prepared to pay the price yet. Packs sold an okay amount, like 4 or 5. This one shows they sold about 22 yesterday actually. So they're selling an okay amount of packs, nothing too crazy. Packs are still around 1550 now. That's kind of where majority of the packs are, the lower price. For ETBs, ETB demand, it's kind of slowing down. It's only selling one per day now. This thing has been struggling to break out 300 for a while. Not as much activity on this. Like between this and the PC ETB, I might prefer the PC ETB just because the PC ETB is like geared to rise a little bit more, but we'll kind of see. But this is definitely like a different option because it's almost half the price. And these booster bundle displays, they were selling a little more recently. No sales the last 2 days, so I'm keeping an eye out for these because I know people are probably going to think of getting these eventually because as bundles get more expensive, we're getting to the point where it is not too bad of a deal. Like if it's 115, so 115 time 150. Wait, what am I doing? 115 times 6. 690. Wait. You want to do 115 times 10. Okay, so it'd be 1150. So it'd be about $300 more. Once this reaches 115, it'll be about $300 more. Which reaches 120, like you'll eventually get to this price point. So people are starting to do that sort of thing, and they're like, hey, which one do I really want? That's kind of the analysis you kind of have to do sometimes in this market. So yeah, I'm just looking out for these, but they are quite expensive. Not the most obvious thing to get. And then Hidden Fates, I haven't been covering this lately because the price has been so stagnant at about 425. There's some recent sales. There were some sales, but not a lot of sales second half of the month until today. They sold 4. So a little bit more Hidden Fates buyouts, but a lot of the price is still around 425. It's been around the 445 to 450 range before, so it is heading back there. There's a good amount of supply, so this isn't really set to rise that much soon, but people are starting to buy it up as there's a little more interest for this now. And then the packs, haven't been selling much. Like there was like 9 sold September 7th, but people aren't really interested in the packs for these. Our prismatic SPCs have risen to 265, so I've been talking about these for a while. So they've been relatively stagnant lately, but people have been buying them up. There's 10 today is just one of the obvious items to get. You're going to invest in prismatic, which is probably going to get really expensive, like 151 within the next year. So yeah, 265s over here, they're heading toward 270. Most of the supply is around here. It's about 10 from 3 sellers. Otherwise, everyone else only has 1 as it goes up to 280. Booster bundle displays, I've been seeing a few more sales for these. 151 as well, Paldean Fates, sort of. And so I think there's going to be a little more interest in these as they were kind of stagnant. This is kind of the most volatile one because we just had a bunch of booster bundles of Prismatic, and Prismatic is a newer set, but this is technically rise about $300 because it's about 1,800 now, and before that's 1,500, but no official sales. Someone did buy one for 1,500. It's just slowly rising. You could have bought for 1,200, 1,300, and then people have been buying up recently. So you're seeing a little more interest in these. Booster bundles are around $60 now, and they're still selling really good, about like over 100 per day. So yeah, ton of booster bundles being sold. People really want these. Obviously booster bundles do well long term. There's a good amount of like supply, but yeah, these are around $60 right now. For ETBs are around 110. A good amount of like demand kind of doubled, where it's usually about 35, it went to about 60, and you see like some sellers at 110 then go straight to like 115ish, and yeah, it's pretty crazy how these have recovered. So the case is there's been a slowdown as the price hasn't really moved as much lately. So not as many sales in the last 5 days, except for 1 case sold. Still eyeing the price because like there's not an infinite amount of these available. For the EV promo from the ETB, 100 sold yesterday. I feel like this is gonna do pretty well because it's a pretty nice promo. It's EV. It's from like Prismatic, so people kind of know about promo cards now. So there's been more buying out of these. This doesn't have as big of a rise as the Snorlax, but there's there's different circumstances as the 151 ETB just became scarce as soon as the bull market kind of started. And then the PC ETB is just under 400 right now. One sold yesterday. There's just one cheaper one, and it goes back up 400 to like 410, 415. For the loose packs, the number of packs sold was 114 packs, and yeah, really impressively, the packs have gone back to about $9. This is just one pack over here. Yeah, $9 packs is pretty common now, and yeah, Prismatic just won't really drop below about $9 a pack. And then the main 10 displays, people have been buying these up more. I do like the Costco things. Like I think there were some listings over here of the Costco. I do like these. I kind of want to get one of these. I feel like honestly, as far as the display thing goes, this is way better than the maintenance display because you can actually see all the tins and you see all 8 EVs. It's like the perfect sort of thing for this. And you're guaranteed, like some people want all 8 tins, so I kind of want to get some of these. As like, and you might be able to get them cheaper than the main display. So kind of interested how these will go. But yeah, these have been being bought off lately as it's kind of curious. As there's been more supply maintenance, people are buying more. Like the resold yesterday, the price is about the same though, about 195. Lucaro boxes went up about like $2. They're selling about 8 to 10 per day, and these are still doing pretty well. So yeah, Prismatic is still doing pretty strong. Like that's about 8.80 a pack versus loose packs are about $9. SPCs went up $11. The PCT went down about $14, but it's gonna go and surpass its high again. And there's just other like $1 to $2 sort of drops or rises other than that. Alright, Mega Evolution keeps dropping, so the non-enhanced box dropped about $28. It's interesting because they're together, same thing. Like, there's not much of a premium for the non-enhanced box as the enhanced box. Bundles are up $1.50, which is crazy because they're so expensive. I guess it's people who can't afford the $200 something prices. And then cases, the case price, the booster box differential is still about less than $10 for this booster box. We're seeing demand pick up at 88 good. So the price could go up a little bit. We're hitting really close to release, but this 88 is actually, it's getting close to 100, and the price could rise possibly, question mark. A lot of sellers are around the same price, but you'll be able to flush out a lot of these, and then there'll only be like one page of sellers after that. This box over here sold more boxes as well. So 11 sold yesterday, 15 sold today. If you add it up, it's actually 100 boxes per day. But this has gone down, and there's a lot of supply here, so I don't think it can really surpass the supply here for a while. I think this price might be here to stay for a little bit. Gardevoir ETBs sold 36 yesterday, kind of normal, still around $95. PCTB is still steady at 400. None sold yesterday, so actually demand kind of slowed down a little bit. There's usually more random spikes. Bundles, the price somehow went up, bundles are selling the most. 63 sold yesterday. I don't really know. These are too expensive. They always drop. I do not recommend getting them at these prices. And then 4 sold yesterday for cases. Tuesday, so case demand is still pretty good. Still, like a lot of people want, unless it goes insane, like people just want to undercut each other to get some capsule. Alright, Black Bolt, White Flare, demand. So PCTBs are at 240 now. So yeah, I've been seeing this coming. I was like, hey, these are probably about to rise at 240 now. And heading toward 250. I do think this is way better set than, like, I don't know, way better, but this is better set than trading together. It'll be more liked. They're better chase cards. And yeah, the PCT just gained the respect it deserves. The White Flare one's still cheap, and so I talked about this. I was like, I don't know, is it worth getting the discount or is it not? Yesterday, Black Bolt was 210, so that would be a good price. These are still hovering around 200, 210. Not as much interest long term. Like, better products do better sometimes, so it might be worth to pay the extra for Black Bolt right now. For ETBs, ETBs still around $90. For Black Bolt, 24 sold today. They're just steady. Over there, bundles are $51, so these are rising a little bit in price. 52 sold yesterday, so that's pretty good for bundles. Binders are at the same price, about 51. Binders aren't doing so well. Sold 0 yesterday. Black Bolt ETBs are 82, so a little more than 80 it's normally at. Sold 19 yesterday. It's kind of, the demand's pretty level out, and then the bundles are 49, which is also a good price. We're leveling at about 30 per day, and it'd be good to see these around like a little more than 50. And then binders are actually cheaper than bundles, which is interesting. Sold 2 yesterday. I don't think binders are the hype. I think people want bundles, space-wise also, and then ETBs that are cheap, and the PC2s, obviously, they are rising. Alright, joined together, the non-enhanced booster box, or the enhanced booster box, rose to about 239, so it's hit about the 240 mark now. And it's really interesting because it's about the same price as the non-enhanced box at 243, so they're about the same price, and so the market's been kind of shifting. So the non-enhanced one has been dropping, and this has been rising, so it's kind of interesting to see what happened. as these two converge. And now what you see is that the cases are the clear sort of favorite. Like even the cheaper case at 1470, which rose kind of the last week or so, it's at 245. So the case premium is there, and obviously cases are worth more than these booster boxes. So cases are still kind of play for joining together. The other case is still selling for about 300. It's a little too overpriced. But yeah, if you look at the price ladder, a lot of them are around 240. I'm sure a lot of people want to get rid of joining together, so I don't know if it'll rise above that soon. But right now it's at 240s. Everything else is really expensive. None of this box sold. It does head toward like 245, like 248. So it is still an option because a lot of us are still selling that price. But the premium isn't really as high as it was before at all. PCTBs took a big spike in demand. Demand actually kind of doubled. So some random spikes. Usually demand is about like 3 or 4 per day at most. 11 sold yesterday, and we're starting to see possibly the $200 view. I'll come back again. The card followers are down to 7. I'm just gonna see someone probably bought a lot for card followers. I see a lot of 164s here. So yeah, just a lot more PCCB demand. And at this price point, it is cheaper with the shipping. So yeah, just a pretty cheap option. And then we'll see possibly let's go to $200 for cases. We're seeing 2 cases over here. So some people have already done that sort of math, saying, oh yeah, it is a really cheap case. And just by case wise, like it's one of the cheapest cases you can get. So it's a really good deal for now. Eventually these prices will rise into the 1500s and 1600s. And then, Surging Sparks, I think it's still pretty cheap. And its other case hasn't had any sales. Alright, Final Fantasy keeps dropping. You see collector boxes and cases are down about $5 to $7 each. Mega packs are down $1. Playbox cases down 9. Get bundles down 6. They're actually dropped below 200 for the first time while they're at 195. Playboxes are back up to about 245, so up $30. Final Fantasy just been playing. You see the start of it going down. I'm sure a lot of people are going to panic sell a little bit. 1 sold yesterday, 4 sold today, and you're seeing two days of like pretty low demand numbers, and otherwise it's usually more blocky, so it's kind of a rare sight. Not necessarily saying demand has crashed or anything, but it's definitely seeing lower demand. Definitely seeing more people desperate to get out of it. I know that some people have bills and stuff. They want more capital. There's that, but other people are just like they want faster money and they'll go after other things. For cases, they sold 1 today. So first case sold in a while. You're seeing cases. Wow, that's 6,300. I don't even know how that happened. But yeah, first case sold a really long time. 6,300 is way too low. And you're seeing a lot of people bunch up around the 8,100 somethings, and yeah, the price of these is going down. Never quite got to the 9,000 mark and maintained it. For loose packs, they're about 122 now. Sold 6 yesterday, 17 today. They're just dropping a little bit more. They could go back up to 123, but in general, packs have been dropping. And they were like 140 at the beginning of the month, and the last 30 days have been rough for Final Fantasy. Omega packs down to 140. Only 1 sold. Demand has definitely dropped. You see random spikes, no random spikes. Only selling like 1, maybe 2 per day last couple of days or last week. Japanese boxes still around 682. Sold 0 yesterday, and there's not a ton of supply around 680. Just these things haven't risen forever. I don't think people are, now that Final Fantasy is going down, I don't think people are optimistic on the Japanese boxes. For play boxes, sold 15 yesterday. Play box demand is still pretty level. The price is always around like this 250 mark, maybe 245 mark. Cases are still around 1500. Around 1500. So didn't sell cases for 3 straight days. Then sold 2 today. For about 1500. So 9 cases now. We're almost at double digits. And the case price is just hovering around about $1,500. Gift bundles, at 195, first time in a while. Sold actually the most gift bundles in a while, 16 sold. That's interesting. The price went down even though a bunch were sold. So I don't really know what happened with that actually. I guess someone maybe just listed this recently. So otherwise they go straight back to 200, and I even see 210 not too far away. Gift bundles are doing pretty strong. Spiderman is recovering as expected. The last 3 days sold over 100 each, and if this keeps up, there's only 257 listed, so the price has to go up. Even this price over here, 735, it's gonna go back to 743. So might be time to buy the dip a little bit. Who knows? I I wish I knew a source that just had these listed for like 700 something without tax or whatever, or shipping. But yeah, could be the price to get it at, and then Spiderman at about 180 right now for play boxes. This price hasn't moved as much. I think collector boxes just took a huge drop as people really didn't believe in the product, and now it's like correcting back to where it was before. So yeah, I think this will do pretty decent. I think it'll definitely be more than like 600, 700, what the price is now. That wraps things up for this video. I hope you walked away with a better understanding of the market. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more deep dives in the Pokemon market. Tell me what's the next big investment you're considering in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you all later.